Hey everybody out there in internet land, it's your boy Jax, coming at you with another video. Now, I know this isn't exactly the format that I usually use because actually what I wanted to do here is start a brand new little offshoot of my channel, It's Go Figure, where we focus on figures that wouldn't otherwise really be, big enough to make a full-on video. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to start a series of more or less action figure shorts. So get ready, strap in, it's going to be exciting! It's Go Figure Spotlight.
It's Go Figure Spotlight, Go Figure Spotlight. When you wanna talk figures but you ain't got time, Go Figure Spotlight, Go Figure Spotlight. This is the theme song. 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 This is the theme song.
Hey everybody, it's your boy Jax welcoming you to the very first episode of It's Go Figure Spotlight, the show where we focus on figures that wouldn't otherwise have enough information to make a full episode. Now, let's just jump right in, get started with our very first episode, our very first figure. And this figure I actually find to be incredibly special because in addition to starting this new little side project of mine, It's Go Figure Spotlight, I also have this figure starting off a little side branch of Dragon Ball Z figures. Very special, unique Dragon Ball Z figures. So, without further ado, let's get into it. In honor of the live-action Dragon Ball movie, I have started to create these. Bam! Super realistic Dragon Ball Z action figures. And of course, the very first one is the amazing, the unparalleled, the Super Saiyan himself, although this is not the Super Saiyan version, Son Goku. Let's get a good look at this one right here. I'll put it up closer to the camera. You can't see that, it's blurring. Okay. So this figure right here is the first in a line of realistic Dragon Ball figures. So what do you say we take a second, open it up, and get a good look at him?
So here we are. This is the live-action Son Goku figure out of the box, finally. I only say finally because I know you can't see it, but behind the scenes, I had a little bit of time getting it out of the box carefully. And there's the box in the background, but we'll deal with that a little bit later. For now, let's take a look at the figure, get some close-ups and such. Now we get a pretty decent look at his face here. He has a more realistic style than the Son Goku we know from the cartoon. It still has sort of a kind of cartoony look to it, but not totally. I'd say that it's more on the realistic side, especially the eyes. I don't know if you can tell, but if you look really closely, he actually has brown eyes with little black pupils right in the middle. If you take a look at his gi, you'll notice that there's actually blue trim around the edges, and down in the corner is the traditional Kame logo, just like in the show. But I think with the blue edges, it gives it more of a realistic feel. It kind of feels like something that a martial artist would actually wear. In addition to that, if you come down here, you may have noticed that there's sort of a fringe material stretching down beyond Goku's waist. It gives the illusion that the uniform is continuing on. I mean, I guess in the cartoon, Goku never had that. I guess he just tucked it into his pants or something like that. But take it from somebody who's done real martial arts, like we've never done that. We don't tuck the flaps into our pants. It's weird. You may have also noticed that on Goku's arms, he's got these little beaded armband things. I mean, you still see the blue weighted armbands, and underneath it's sculpted like there's wraps going around his wrist. But I think that the little beaded armbands, they kind of add this cool air of like, say, a monastery monk. It's a pretty cool accent when you look at it. It reminds me a little bit of Ryu from that Street Fighter TV show from Japan where Ken and Ryu are traveling around the world. I want to see this show up on other characters too, maybe on a short dude with incense burns. Now, if we get down lower, you can see Goku's boots, and I gotta say, I really like what I've done here. They've got these little edges on it that kind of creates this ribbing effect. It's like the boots have seen some action, or maybe that's just the cool style of the shoe. And in addition to that, he's got actual little ropes tied around the ankles. Well, not actual ropes because they don't make ropes that tiny, but it's like a little twine that simulates the rope, and it looks really professional and it's really cool. It creates an amazing effect. I mean, a lot of times Goku, he just has it molded onto the shoe and it just feels really fake. But yeah, this is really real. I can feel it, it's real. It just really adds a nice air of realism to the figure. Now we get into the back of the figure and you can see that King Kai's logo is right there on the back. It looks a little damaged, like maybe he's seen some action. I mean, the initial idea was to sort of design his uniform after the one that he had in the Cell Saga. So, you know, that would mean that Goku actually would have seen quite a bit of action in this uniform. So, you know, it makes sense. I also like the fact that his uniform is bending and contorting, kind of like fabric, and because of that, the logo is bending and contorting, so it really does create a more realistic look to it, as opposed to clothes being flat completely. Let's take another look at the boots. As you can see, the string wraps all the way around. It's still got that cool edging. What you might also notice is that his sleeves also have that same edging, which kind of makes it uniform, and I thought that was a nice little touch. Now, if we take a second and look at Goku's hair, you may notice that it has that same cartoony look with the big swooping spikes. But if you really get in there deep, I don't know if I can get the camera to focus, but if you really get in there deep, you can see that the hair is actually made up of tiny, multiple little strands that make up these bigger swoops, so to speak. So that kind of adds a whole nother level of realism because it really makes me feel like Goku's got like literal hair instead of these big cartoony spines looking like Sonic the Hedgehog. It really makes the character feel fleshed out. As you can see, the Goku figure is highly poseable. He's ready for action, ready to fight. The only thing I kind of regret is that I didn't make him so that he could turn his head, but hey, still working on it. Son Goku, ready to take down the bad guys! Now, it wouldn't be much of a review if we didn't look at the packaging as well, and honestly, this has got to be one of the coolest things I've ever created. So let's take a second and get in close. As you can see, the image on the package is sort of a hyper-realistic look at Goku's face, as if he were like a real person. This also emphasizes what I was saying earlier about the individual strands of hair that kind of come together to make the bigger swoops. Come down here, look at the logo. Holy crap, just look at that! It's so intense, like the letters look like they're made out of metal. Dragon Ball Z, the Cell Games. The side of the box is pretty simple with Goku's name on it. Let's just take a moment, flip the box over. Yeah, as you can see the other side. Whoa, hold on, it's falling down. It continues the picture that was on the front. The back of the box has a very similar picture to what was on the front. It also has a little synopsis on it that tells you whatever part of the story they happen to be in. So, I can sit here and I can read it to you, or you can just, pause the screen and read it yourself. I mean, come on, do I really need to hold your hand? The final thing to look at is the insert that was inside the package. This is what Goku was, well, wired against. So yeah, it's got the same picture that's on the outside of the box. It's a little different, like maybe a little bit more silhouette-y, I guess? I mean, I guess a silhouette is more like a shadow, but I mean, it looks amazing, and that's all that really matters, right? This is the full Son Goku from the front, and from the back. Well, there you have it, the very first figure in my It's Go Figure Spotlight line. And incidentally, it's also the very first figure in my spin-off Dragon Ball Z live-action movie figures. So, hoping to make more, look out for the next ones coming very, very soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Why don't you click that bell button to be notified when we upload even more awesome videos. Oh, and hey, if you have any good ideas for figures, drop them down in the comments. I'll be sure to take a look, and maybe, just maybe, I'll make the figure you want next.